Well, let's look at one of these offers. Just how much value does a father have in a child's first weeks of life? With me to talk about this are John Adams, a married stay-at-home dad and writer of Dad Blog UK, and Lynne Burnham from Mothers at Home Matter. Well, you're a mother. Does dad matter in the first few weeks of a child's life?
Of course, dads matter. Dads matter in an enormous amount in a child's life, but we would suggest that perhaps they don't matter quite so much in the first few months of a baby's life, but they have a great role to play in supporting the wife or the partner, the woman that's had the baby, the mum that's had the baby. And, you know, it's all about choice. Our organisation would dearly love the incoming government to actually accept that it's the choice of the family. It may be that the mother has a career that she needs to get back to keep her foot on the rung of the ladder, and dad decides to stay at home. And that's great if that's what works for them. Well, but the average family, you will find it's mum that once mum's given birth, all the hormones that mum's created when she's given birth, bond with her baby. It's really important to have that bond.
So the baby needs mum. Do you think the baby needs dad?
The baby most definitely needs dad. I wouldn't question for a second that the baby needs mum, but it's all very well if a mother has a straightforward birth. If we look at my personal experience with my wife's 2 births, there were complications afterwards. I had to be at home.
She wasn't really in a position to look after the baby in the initial moments?
No. I mean, she was actually re-hospitalised after the second birth, and with the first birth, it was quite a hard surgical birth. I had to be there, and I think any father would have been, should have been.
There is also presumably the biological reality that it's a good thing for the baby to get used to the dad's scent, to feeling easy with the dad holding the baby, just as much as the mother holds the baby.
Well, absolutely. I mean, if I think back to before my first daughter was born, and like a lot of couples, we did National Childbirth Trust courses, and we were actually encouraged as dads to do skin-to-skin contact with our children, which is something that I...
Let me pause you there. I mean, would you therefore, given your position, would you see all this fuss over paternity leave and paying fathers while they're off looking after children as basically money down the drain?
No, and it's not money down the drain.
But you wouldn't object if it was cut?
Cut? Well, it's not. We haven't even been. It hasn't been introduced yet, has it? So if it was cut, we need to actually think about what's right for society. And you know, employers.
Well, there is 2 week.
Well, no, there's a 2-week paternity leave. That's right. And some fathers will take that, but they don't take that at full pay. And this new 4 weeks that the Ed Miliband's bringing in, it's not going to be at full pay either. So you know, they're going to be living on a reduced income if both parents.
But is it worth having, or frankly, it's just not important enough at this stage to be having much of a fight over it?
No, quite honestly, what we'd like to see is that paternity leave be available up until the child's 18, because it might well be that the father needs to be on hand when the child first starts at school, or maybe later on in the early teens.
So 4 weeks available any time in the child's life up to 18?
Up to 18, that's what we would like.
I mean, it's an interesting proposal, but I mean, I don't think... In the society we live in now, to go back to Lynne's point about choice, I think the idea of giving men the possibility to have a month's paternity leave, that introduces you know, choice at that very earliest stage. You know, dad, as I've already said, dad may be needed at home, or it may just be best for dad to be at home, or it may be best for dad to be at work. But if they're given a month, the choice is there for them to do that in that initial month.
But can I press you on this idea that actually biologically it's rather important for the father to create a biological link with the child at that very, very early stage, and therefore 2 weeks, even 4 weeks certainly, would be terrifically valuable, because the skin-to-skin that John talked about is a very valid need.
No, it is a very valid need, but the baby has been growing in the mum's tum for 9 months.
Well, time to get used to somebody else then.
Well, you could say that, but you know, with breastfeeding rates on the downturn, you know, with all the best will in the world, Dad's not going to breastfeed. And
no, but Dad is going to do a lot of jobs when poor old Mum's recovering from a good go of the breasts.
No, absolutely, and Dad's role is super important. We're not denying that dad's role isn't important. It is important. But whether or not it's just a pretext for the government to bring in more childcare, third-party childcare.
I don't detect that Lynne would fight over this. Would you?
Well, fight over the introduction?
Yes, to get it.
No, I don't think Lynne is going to fight over it.
So you don't think it's an election winner then?
Well, no, actually, what I think it is, there's a very important point to be made here, and that a lot of men at this point in time do choose to take additional time when a child is born. And at this point in time, they are doing that with their own holiday entitlement. And there are also a very sizable number of men who are having to forego their paternity leave because they cannot afford it.
Right.
And they are having to ignore it and take it from the holiday entitlement.
I'm going to have to thank you both there, but people have to make their mind up what they want. But thank you very much indeed, both of you, for joining us.